Just so you guys know, I'm planning on kind of recording the training session so we could use it for later.
Good.
Just hit record now. So I think it's just us. We're not going to wait on JJ, right?
Nope.
Nope. We're going to go get started. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is kind of more of a recap on what we did on our last training. I know, Denise, you were not a part of this, so this will be new, but for everyone else, it's just kind of a refresher. So this is OST Basics. It's for the Sales and Estimating Training 2020. Going through this will be myself and Pedro. Just a quick overview of the training outline. I'm going to go through understanding the basics, show you how to create a database, synchronize the database, and show you where the OST folders are located. I'm going to cover the setting up for a new project, how to create a new bid, the image management, or loading your bid docs, and then inserting your condition styles. Pedro will cover getting started, show you the OST interface, renaming your architectural sheets. He'll cover setting and calculating your scale, using conditions, and then towards the end, he's going to cover printing and exporting your takeoff. Printing will be to PDF, and then show you how to do exporting. So if you guys don't have any questions, we're going to roll right into that. Feel free to stop me anywhere if I get to going too fast. So I'm going to leave this here in this format because we're going to be flipping back and forth with OST. So that way it's a little smoother. I don't have to stop the presentation. As long as you guys can see okay. So just diving right in, understanding the basics, creating a database. Here are some examples of what we are doing for naming. So a database is something that you're going to create once a year right now. So you want to keep the naming small. So we started using, the fiscal year, say 2020, FY for fiscal year, and then the name of the estimator. So we're going to walk through it here. And once I'm done showing you in presentation, then I'm actually bring over OST and kind of walk through it. So this kind of shows you, you're going to go File, New, Database. The next pop-up will be the type of database, which would be Microsoft Access for most users. And it's going to bring up this pop-up where you're going to enter the name of the database. You're going to go 2020, FY, and then enter your name. You're going to leave everything else the same. Nothing to change there. Just leave the default values. You're going to click OK, and then your database gets created. Any questions here?
No. Okay. I'm doing it like an OST. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna walk through it and you can walk through it with me if you like. So we're gonna go File, New, Database. Are you guys seeing OST, by the way?
No, I
We're
still see the
seeing
presentation.
your
Okay.
PowerPoint.
That asked before I went through all that. How about now?
No.
Still the PowerPoint.
You're okay?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so File, New, Database. We're gonna click on Microsoft Access, most users. You're gonna go 2020. I'm gonna use that as an example and then enter my name. We're gonna leave everything else the same. Leave all that default. And then you're gonna click OK. And there's the database that we just did. So there's nothing there, it's pretty empty. There's other database here from what I'm working on right now. Are you okay with that portion?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we back at the presentation or do I need to?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the next part we're going to cover is synchronizing your database. So when you synchronize your database, you're only going to do this when you create it. So really just once, unless you're making updates or you're bringing in your data from another database. So what you need to know is where you're pulling your source from and then your destination. So the destination database will be your new, the one that we just created. And then your source will be somewhere where you're pulling, where you've already been working. So to do that, you're going to go to Tools, Synchronize, and you're going to get this pop up. So here's where you're going to select your source database. In this example, we're going to go from the one I've already have existing, and the destination will be to the new one that I've got. You're going to want to make sure that your check mark is clicked here so that your menus and everything comes over, and you're going to click Start. So we're going to go ahead and walk through that on OST. You guys have my OST screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to go through that. So this new one here, this is the one that's pretty blank. And I've got where I'm going to pull what I'm going to synchronize it with my source database will be this one that I've been using. So something to point out, the reason why we synchronize it, if you were to go and load a new project right now before synchronizing, everything is pretty blank. Can you see the menu here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when I go to click, I click new. Let me do that again. I click new. I'm not able to select like the job status. I can't select the estimator. All of that is it's blank. And when I go to create the actual file, I can start a project, but I don't have all the default values there. So if what I'm going to do is going to bring that over from this. So that's what we're doing when we're synchronizing. You'll see once we synchronize, I'll be able to kind of select. So if I go to Tools, Synchronize Database, my source is going to be my 2020-19, the active projects that I'm working on. The destination is the new one that I just created. This one here. And then got that checked off, and we hit Start. Synchronization is pretty quick too. It's done. So now once I go to click New Project, it's going to give me the option to select the status. It's going to bring estimator, list of estimators. And when you actually do the project, you're going to have condition styles that are coming from that database. So just wanted to show you that, but that's pretty much the process of synchronizing your database and why you want to synchronize before you get started with new projects. Any questions here?
No.
No? Okay. Let me roll back to the. So your OST database folders, most of ours are all kind of defaulted this way. Those are all preset. The main one you want to be aware of is your OCS documents OST. That's where your databases are located. I'll show you what that looks like. Bring that over. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
So here's when you create that database, this is where it's going. Everyone's going to have this resides on your C drive. So there's that one that I just created. And those are the active ones that I have. So every time you go create one, so if you do one by mistake, you could actually come here and delete it, and it won't show up on your, when you go to open, show you that on OST. When you go to open say maybe an old database, I've got a few here. Those are the ones that are coming from that folder. If you delete it from that folder, you won't have that selection here. See, I've got it here. I've got other samples. So if I click on that one, it'll show up. It'll bring over whatever's there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, turn it off if you don't need it. See, have it there. That's sample one here. I'll just keep those two on for that. So, but that is kind of where your database, if you need to go find it for whatever reason, or see what's created, maybe clean it up, that's where it's at. It's on your C drive.
What happens if you double click on one of those? The ones that aren't locked?
The ones that are, well, in this case, this one's open, so it's active. I haven't really opened it that way. I don't know if it opens it. We can try it, but maybe I can do, I'll do the sample one just to see what happens. I usually open it from, yeah, see, it's trying to go to access, which is probably what we don't want to do.
Yeah, I was just curious because since I started OST, I started off not knowing what I was doing. And so I've got multiple databases that I created.
Mhm.
And the last one has got a ton of stuff in it that I want to utilize. But to be honest with you, I'm not so sure where it is or what it's called.
Yeah, I mean, this will be, if you look at your C drive, kind of filter through those, you probably want to
No.
open it. The
Yeah, I've
better
got
you-
them up now.
What's that?
I've got them up now. I'm
Oh.
staring at them.
So
Okay.
for me, Rick, I did the same thing. I kind of went through some trial and error. I had multiple databases, and now I know I have one that I like. I'm looking at it. I can tell that it's the biggest folder for me. That may not be the case for you, but it's
Gotcha.
got the most data.
Yeah, it's like this one here, this Walters and Wolf OST. That was probably your original one, and it's got a lot of data in there. It's got all these different condition styles, different stuff that probably has all the original users in there as well. You know, as you do your database, probably something you want to manage is kind of your list of people. You know, who's all in there. You could add to that. That's going to go in that database that you're creating. That way, the next time you sync it, it'll be up to date. Same with your condition styles that we'll get into, but all those are kind of associated to that database that you create. And if you want to pull data from an old one, you can kind of take a look at it and synchronize it, and it'll bring that over to the new database that you have. Oh. Any other questions on that, folders?
I have a question.
Yep.
Since I don't have like an old like database, where can I get like a existing one that I can synchronize with all those drop down options, or do I need that or not really?
You can start your own, or your team. You can probably grab one from your team. Yeah, they could send you over one of their databases and something that has all your defaults, the way your condition styles are set up. Maybe they have something that you could share. That way you don't have to start from scratch.
Okay.
Or any one of us could send you something, but probably maybe it's more.
I was gonna say, maybe it's worth, I was thinking specifically like for the three of us will be doing all the OST in Vegas. If we do one database kind of that has all the condition styles, when we get down to that point that we all kind of like and can agree on, if that's a thing that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And then share it, and then just kind of back it up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have something to sync from, you can always just start a new one
Mhm.
and
Okay.
work from there. I mean, we don't have a set standard of, hey, every time you highlight curtain wall, it should be yellow or anything like that, because it'll be driven based on the project that you're working from and
Mhm.
whatever you want to quantify and how you want to quantify that.
Okay. So I
But
don't.
you don't need to have something to sync from, and you can create your own as you're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good to have it if you've done something in the past that you like and you want to keep that consistent. It's good to have.
Yeah, I mean, I could share this one with you as well. It's pretty stripped down. I could actually show you let me do a sample of what's in this. I'm gonna do a quick project. You can see. Leave a blank sheet there. The conditions, some of the stuff that you probably want to bring over when you insert, kind of jumping ahead on the presentation, but this info here, those are your conditions. This is pretty bared down for me. It's just got the highlighted details, highlighted scope, and that's it. It's pretty bare.
Okay.
It could be a good place starter for you. I'd be happy to send that over to you, and then you can kind of elaborate from there. You could change it. You could at least it'll give you a place to start. So,
okay.
I'll share that with you. So,
thank you.
We'll go back over to our stuff here. Those are the folders. So now we're going to go into setting up a new project, which is kind of what I just walked through, but we'll go through this. Create a new bid. You're going to click on your $sign there first. You're going to get the pop-up that has you fill up all the data, the job status, the project name, and then select your estimator. Click on that. And next thing you're going to do is load your bid docs. So there's a couple things to know about these buttons down here, but the most selected one is probably the third one here. Once I bring it up in OST, I'll kind of show you what those three different ones really mean. So you click on that. It's going to ask you to pick your location of where the files are located. We're going to use this sample bid doc. We're going to use this project. You select it. You're going to click open. And the files are going to start. Something to note is it's going to ask you to whether you want to convert your PDF files into TIFF, which is what you want to do. It's just a lot easier, a lot quicker to view when you're working on your takeoff. You can leave it as PDF, but it's just a lot smoother and a lot quicker to convert it to TIFF. And you're only going to have to do it once, so you want to click yes. You click on yes, and it's going to go through this process, going to bring everything in, and then at the end, it's going to look like this. All your files are in here, and they've all been converted to TIFF. So you've loaded your bid docs. So we're going to go ahead and go through that right now. I'm going to create a new project. Click on the $sign here. And again, I'm in the database in the new database. You want to put it in the database that you're working on. I'm going to click on new. I'm going to call it OST Training for a sample. Select my name. You could also choose to enter, if you have a bid date that you're working towards, you could put all that here. I'm gonna leave this alone for now. So the next thing you want to do is bring in your bid docs. So a couple things to know. This button here is just inserts a blank page, which you don't really need. You already have a blank page there. This other one here in the middle, this will give you, if you've got a job that has all the sheets broken out, instead of it's just one file, you can select that first one, click open, and it's going to automatically load everything that you had in that folder. If that's what you got from, say, the GC. So that's an option. The other one is the third one here. This lets you select just the one file, and it's going to load everything that's within that file. So something to note here is before you go through this process, you probably want to clean up that file that you want to do. If it's a file that has all your structural, mechanical, electrical, you want to strip it down to specifically what you want to look at in OST, because that's how many files are going to kind of come over. If you got a document that's 300, 400 pages, you probably want to strip it down just to what you need. Something to note before you do that.
Yeah, I was going to say what I try to do is I'll pull out the plan views, the building or the elevations, the window schedule, and the details.
Right. And on some jobs, maybe even the smaller ones, you probably just want to, once you've looked at the documents, maybe you only want to do, say, the elevations, because that's what you're going to take off. Maybe if it's that kind of a project, or if it's small enough, you just load the whole thing too. So for this example, we're going to use this one here. And I've got a sample project that I'm going to load. And it's this one here. It's about 47 pages. So I'm going to click open. You're going to get the pop-up that's asking you, confirming that you want to convert it to TIFF. And I'm going to say yes. And it's a little bit of a process. Maybe it'll take 2 to 3 minutes. But it's going to take these 47 pages. Just want to walk through it because, you know, this will show you that you want to narrow your bid doc that you're going to load so that this process will either be quick or it's going to be long if you put the whole set of documents in here. So this one has, you know, 47 pages. We could watch it go, maybe answer any questions you guys have while this is going.
Okay. I just tried, like, I tried to load the documents, then it didn't ask me to convert it to TIFF. Is there a way to?
Mine doesn't do it until I go,
Okay.
like, once it loads the documents, once it goes to open the job or the bid, then it asks me. So
Oh,
it
okay.
should ask you
Later.
later, correct?
Okay.
Right. I mean, I think if it's not asking you, it's because we're running a newer version.
Mhm.
I'm getting that as well. It doesn't convert it automatically anymore, or doesn't prompt you to as early.
I wonder if there's a setting on this because I thought
I've looked around,
yeah,
and I haven't.
So yours are
But what
still,
I do,
yours are
sorry.
still staying in PDF format, Pedro?
It stays in PDF, but once I get out of this menu that we're on right now on your screen, I go to the image tab, and then at the very bottom, there's a option there to convert your images to TIFF. So I've gotten used to that there.
Converting it once you load it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a recent update, and I've noticed that's kind of when it changed.
One other thing I was going to say is I learned the hard way that the auto add image button is constantly looking at the source document. Like, it doesn't just import it one time. It's constantly pulling that new information. So I was working on an OST, and I was having Rick help me out, and he was doing a takeoff. And so he's marking up that document. And as he was marking it up, those markups were showing up in my OST. So it was a little strange, but just another reason to not reuse that tab.
Yeah, that's could be pretty cool too, but yeah.
Depends.
Cool, if you're expecting it. I
Right.
was not expecting it, so I came back from vacation, and there was markups all over the place and pages moved, so it was really confusing. It took me quite some time to figure out what had happened.
Oh, so did you have that as a PDF, or did you left it as a
So
PDF?
I clicked the second one to the right, the auto add images from the folder, thinking it was just going to, it was the only file in the folder, so I'm thinking no big deal. And it, you know, it brings it in. I did my OST, and then I was on vacation and asked Rick to help me do a takeoff of some awning windows. And when he was doing it, he was putting markups on that PDF and had moved pages around. And so then when I came back and went back into my OST, everything was all moved around. Like, it's constantly looking at the source document. I was thinking it just imported it once and it was done, but it's almost doing it live. So if that, I don't think that happens if you hit the one that Frank just showed us, the third one, right? I think it truly just imports that one document one time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another reason why when it's doing this conversion, you know, one thing I didn't cover was it's creating this folder. Let me go to that folder in this example. It's creating a converted folder where all these TIFF files are located. So this is the project that we're bringing in right now. So OST creates this folder called converted, and that's where all your TIFF files are going. I'm curious if that's happening when you keep it as PDF. I haven't really seen that. I've been converting everything to TIFF, but it does create this folder where all the files.
Okay.
That's where everything is going from here. So it looks like we got three pages left. We'll click OK.
Right. To walk through the example with the
Mhm.
group, should we all load this document
Which one?
or this one that you just loaded?
I think you had one that was a little shorter. You know,
Okay,
that
so
was
I'll
just-
walk them through
yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could do that one. I think it was I can't remember, a couple pages. It wasn't 47 pages.
I'm wondering if they have access to that file.
You guys have access to the N drive? Or I think the last time you might have sent that out.
I'll try sending it out. It's 18 megabytes, so.
I think I might have it on my desktop. I can send it as well. Or put it on the J drive or something. So
Yeah, I remember it went over. So on this one, once it's all done loading up, you know, there's your TIFF. You're going to click OK. And you're probably going to get the first page, maybe the cover. It's going to go ahead and open that project. It's taking a little bit. Are you guys still seeing my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so there it opened up the pages. It doesn't do any of the, it just keeps the file the way it was named. This is something that Pedro's going to walk through, but there's a file ready to kind of start working on. All your bit ducts are loaded. So that's kind of where we're at here. The next part of it is inserting your condition styles so that you can get started. For that, you're going to go to right click on conditions. You're going to click on select insert style set. And you're going to get this pop-up that's going to show you what you have to work with. If you haven't loaded any, this is where you create one. So we've got these that I've got selected. I'm going to click no highlighted scope. You select it and then you click select. And then it's going to load it, just populate right in there, right here. Yeah, I'll walk through that right now. So here's the project. There's nothing here. It's pretty blank as far as conditions go. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that. And remember, this is kind of what came over from that database that was existing. So I'm gonna hit insert, style set. I'm gonna select the scope one. I'm gonna click select. And it kind of brings it in here. And that's kind of what comes in with that condition. If I wanted to bring the other one in as well, right click there, insert style set when I'm ready to start doing the highlighted details. Or maybe I bring them in all at once. So like that, it brings in that one there. There's one to kind of walk you through and show you the steps of when you want to bring something in that you've already been using within your previous database, or where to go if you want to create a new one. I think Pedro's going to show you how to do that. This is bringing them in from a database. Any questions here?
Yeah. So like I have conditions that I've used in the past, but when I go to insert new style set, they're not on a list. How do I get them on a list kind of thing?
You want to bring them, so you go, like you said, you have multiple databases, right? So go to the database that has that one, that condition style that you have, and synchronize it with your new one. Well, as soon as you synchronize it, it's going to bring that over. So you can try that. But that I did a couple runs of that. You know, that's kind of part of what we did at the beginning. It was pretty bare, but when I synchronized it with my existing database, it brought over, as well as the users, it brought over these condition styles, because that's kind of what was there. If I would have brought over, you know what, I can do that right now. I'm gonna show you just to walk through it. I'm gonna synchronize this database. I'm gonna open up just to walk through it. I think it's a good question. I'm gonna open this guy up. That source. This is our old database. I'm gonna synchronize my source would be this Walters and Wolf, that has all this multiple condition styles. I'm gonna sync it with my 2020, this new one that I'm working on, but I'm not sure if it's gonna override it or not, but I guess we'll find out. We'll leave that checked. And I'm gonna hit, let me hit start. You see how it's taking a little longer because there's a lot more there.
Mhm.
And now if I go back to the project, this is kind of what I've already loaded, but like in your case, you want to load, say, something that you've had from another one. You see, here's kind of what came in from that one, whatever was there.
Gotcha.
We only had these two, but it brought in, so it left what I had there, and it also brought what was in that other data, that source database. That's probably what you want to do, is pull it from where you have those condition style sets. And then you could actually go here and bring it over, or select it from here, select it. Like say if I select that one, it's gonna bring it over.
Jake, do you only have one database right now?
Like so I have a database 2020 fiscal year Jake Walker, and I have created multiple different conditions in that, and I thought I synchronized with this test one I just did, but then when I go to the test job I created and try and insert condition style, there's nothing there. Maybe we'll get to it when we start talking about creating a new condition. Maybe I did that wrong, and that's why they're not like on the database kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean, as long as you're picking the right source where you're bringing it from, you should pull in whatever that into the new one. You should be able, and that you clicked on that bring in menus and all that, as long as that's checked off as well.
Let me double check all that.
Yeah, we could switch over the screen if you like to. We can walk through that.
Let me try and synchronize one more time. So
Okay.
that's good. 2020. Go to. Yeah, it's definitely not getting the conditions, because when it synced that database, it said it was only bringing the 3 objects, which I think were like bid type, estimator, something like that.
Yeah.
Because it brought over those 3, but let's keep going. And I think we get down to where we do the creating a condition, and I think maybe that's what I've been doing wrong.
We need a troubleshoot that we can walk through that.
Yeah.
I think up until this inserting condition styles, I'm going to turn it over to Pedro, who's going to talk about getting started. And you're going to use your screen, Pedro? Should I stop sharing?
Yeah, I can use my screen.
Okay.
So over the last 5 minutes, I think I sent on an email with some bit documents. Did you guys get those? It was 18 megabytes. If not, we might have to have Jake share that document with you guys.
I got it.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got it.
So I don't know if you guys want to work off of your desktop for this example, or put that somewhere where you would like, but maybe create a folder and put those documents in there.
Can I put the document in the OCS document folder, or will that be messy?
Yeah, that would be messy. Imagine that this is maybe a job on the sales folder. Like you would have a project, and then you would have your bit documents, and then this is probably where this would reside.
Okay.
Yeah, I save. I've got a temporary folder on my hard drive, and that's typically where I do all my OST.
Okay. Okay. So I just go to bids, then new.
I will walk you guys through that again, just to make sure we got that.
Okay.
Just collapse some of these. So in the example Frank just showed us a few minutes ago, we used this $sign to insert a new bid. I don't know if you guys were following along at that point or not.
Yep.
But we can do this live with that document that I just shared with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys like shortcuts, you can also hit the insert key on your keyboard, and it'll do the same thing as hitting the $sign.
Okay.
So this brings up that same menu that we saw earlier, where you can create your new project name and fill out the information, and then you would select your document that we're going to work from.
Mm-hmm.
So for this one, I'll just create a new one here with you guys and call it OST Training Las Vegas 12/2020. If you want to set a status of it, you can. We'll just call this a budget. Or if you've synchronized and have your menus there, you can select your drop-down menu. And if you have it, you're going to get this list that tells you if you want to assign this status to your status list. And every time you add something new that hasn't been synchronized, it's going to ask you if you want to add it to basically to your database.
Okay.
So it's always a good thing to hit yes on those. If you know of a bit date that you're working from, you can add that there. Sorry, I got a menu off to the side over here. You can fill this out if you like. In all honesty, I don't fill this whole thing out since it's not gonna get viewed anywhere else. Don't forget to put an employee number there. So again, we're gonna load our documents with this third button. Then you're gonna get a pop-up menu. And here's where you would navigate to that folder you created with the document that we're gonna work off of. So it's gonna be this Vans HQ2 reduced file.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna select that and hit open. I think this was less than 20 pages, so it should go quicker.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the on-screen takeoff should be like on-screen takeoff pro, not plan viewer, because I only got the plan viewer.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not going to do anything.
Yeah, so there's a lot that you're probably not going to be able to do unless we can find a quick fix for you right now.
Yeah, I think the deal was there to insert or try to enter that key that we all have, because it's the same for everybody.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would think that that should I mean, we should try that right now. If you've got that key.
Mhm.
Yeah, because if it loaded, you can hit OK here, and let's see if we can give you what that key is.
Okay. Because I was still stuck like converting the PDF to TIFF. Then yeah, I just noticed it's Plan Viewer, not Pro.
Yeah, I just sent out the key. You can try that. Entering that key, you get it.
Not yet.
So yeah, you can go to File, check Authorization,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and then that's where you would put that key in. Because I think all of ours should be the same, right?
Yeah, it's yep.
Okay. So I'll just type in this license key, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
the license key at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we'll all cross our fingers it works.
Yeah, I think we had a similar condition that last time we were. I think it might have been yours, Jake. I think you got it to work during the.
Yeah, eventually it went through. I don't remember what combination of pluses and dashes and how it went in, but
The only reason why it probably wouldn't if we have like a number of seats and they're all taken.
Yeah.
But
Fingers crossed. Okay.
it worked?
Right. Yes.
Great.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
So we'll walk through the interface in OST. Let me jump back to OST. Here's kind of the main place where all your sheets will be at. Over on the left side, I think I use kind of the default settings in OST, so it should look very similar on your end as far as where the tools are located. But here, this is just the navigation window. If you're zoomed in, you can kind of see where you're at. Here is where all your conditions would be as you're creating them. And then this is where you would turn on and off your different layers. Simple annotation tools up above, zooming in and out. This one's critical here, as this would set the scale of the page you're working on. So it's one at a time. You got to make sure that every page is set to the right scale. Otherwise, it'll just set to its default, which is 1/8 of an inch. This is a little bit more advanced tool if you've assigned different areas on your OST. Not something that we use often. And then over here is where you have the list of all the pages that came in. So right away after I load the document into OST, kind of what I like to do is rename these sheets, which is, I think, the next step in our next slide. So to rename the sheets, you can be in the, you want to make sure you're on the select tool, which is just your arrow tool. And then you can right click anywhere on that page and select rename sheets. And then you can rename your pages and then click next to go to the next page. So I'll show you how that works. So you're in here, you want to make sure you're in this arrow select tool. So not in a takeoff mode, but you want to be in your selection tool. If you right click anywhere on this sheet, it should bring up this menu, and then you can hit rename sheet and rename it. So I'm just going to rename it to the page number. And if you hit next page, it'll go to the next page and you'll do the same thing. It's going slow, and I think it's because I'm on Zoom right now. And if you hit enter twice on your keyboard, it should do the same thing. Go to the next page.
Okay.
This is going really slow though.
Yeah, did it convert them to TIFF?
No,
It
so I
kept-
forgot about that step there.
Yeah,
You're right.
I wonder if it stayed as. Yeah, it's a PDF. Yeah, it looks like it's a PDF.
So, yeah, and you'll notice that it's going to go a little bit quicker once we convert it to PDF. So that's a good point, because when Frank showed us, he got a menu that automatically prompted him to convert those to TIFF. And on the newer updates, that's not happening. So what you have to do is go to image and then convert current image to TIFF. It's going to ask you if you want to do that to all of your pages, and you say yes.
Okay.
So that should take maybe a minute here for this one.
Yeah, it didn't pop up when you brought the bid documents in, right? It didn't give you that option on this one.
No.
I think mine used to do it like once it opens the image tab after you first import them, but then now it stopped doing that as well.
It worked for me. It gave me the PDF to TIFF selection.
I think I might have accidentally clicked the don't show me this again or something like that.
Maybe I don't have the updated version because I don't recall updating this.
I would check, but I'm locked in here right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a setting, maybe.
So, I mean, Jake and Rick, you guys have used it for a couple months now. How's that been?
For me, it's good. Like one of the things that I wanted to brush up on, even though it's kind of one of the more simple things, I wasn't sure the best way to do it was renaming the pages, because that is a little more work up front, but it's definitely a lot easier. I've been kind of lazy and haven't been doing it. So I'm just dealing with like the 004 whatever file name, you know, and that is not the easiest way to navigate. So I like this step, definitely emphasis on how much better it makes it to know the page numbers.
No, absolutely. It's good to also add the title of it, because you can easily find it later.
Yeah, that's what I was doing at first, and then I think I didn't do one for a while, and I somehow forgot the way to rename pages, so I needed to brush up on that.
Okay, so since we just converted it to a PDF, it still keeps the same page numbers that we had already renamed. So I'm gonna see if this goes quicker now. It's still going slow, and I think it's because I'm on the end drive. Yeah, it's still not as fast. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm on Zoom right now.
Yeah, I think mine's usually slower on Zoom.
I mean, you guys get the gist of it, right? I think, because if I rename all sheets of it, it's still going to be another 2 minutes probably.
Yeah.
So that's how you rename your sheets. Let me just see if I still have my the OST training file that I used a couple months ago.
I think it is in that J drive. I don't know if you want to grab it too. I think
No, I think I did it in one of these and I must have deleted it. Yeah. I'm just not liking how slow it is. So setting the scale. So what you want to note here is you want to take a look at the scale that you're working off of in the drawings. This tool right here is a little magnifying glass. If you don't want to zoom in and out, you can just hit that and then you can, like a little magnifying glass, see what the scale is. It is the right scale, so we'll leave that alone. But that's how you change the scale there. If you have some drawings that don't have the scale on them, or you need to kind of recalibrate what the scale should be, there is a way to do that in OST. So to calculate the scale, you go over to the edit menu, hit calculate scale. You would need to type in the scale that you do know. So for example, here, we know that this was 30 feet, so we typed in 30 feet, 0 inches. And then it doesn't really tell you what to do here, but you would have to click that point and drag that over until it reads 30 feet, which is what you want it to be. So you know that from this point to this point is 30 feet, you would click and hold and release here. And then it would recognize that that's 30 feet, you would hit OK, and it would already set the scale on that page. So we can walk through one of those examples there. So like I'm on page 8 of this example document. I don't know if you guys want to work on that same thing there. I like to zoom in close to where I'm able to kind of get a better viewing angle of what I want to adjust. So I'm going to go over to edit, calculate scale. I know that it's 15 feet, and in OST likes to use the last 2 digits as your inches. So I'm going to type in 1500, and it'll recognize that that's 15 feet 0 inches.
Mm.
So you
Okay.
want to make, or you can, you want to put in your feet symbol, you can do that. But I just find it easier to just type in 1500 for this example, because the last 2 digits will represent the inches. And then
Okay.
I would click and hold. My mouse isn't acting correctly. Then you can still stretch it. Sorry about that. It's not. There's like a delay on it. Is it working out smoother on your guys' end?
Yes. Maybe it's, yeah, because you're on Zoom and sharing your screen.
Possibly. It's, yeah, normally you can just.
I'm gonna guess it's that. I mean, just because I have that not with OST, but with a lot of other software, right? Like it's like Word goes a lot. Everything just seems like it drags when you're presenting.
Yeah, but you guys get, if you guys got that, I'm happy. That's the way you set the scale. If you need to like readjust your scale, and then you'll notice that your scale gets adjusted over here on your drop-down scale list. So I will disregard page 8 for whatever that I'm working on here. So that was calculating the scale there. So now we're going to create new conditions and start taking some stuff off. And we'll start with creating a new condition by using the new condition button, which is this little plus sign right here within your conditions menu box. And then this new pop-up window is going to come up, and we'll start off by creating a linear takeoff. So in this drop-down menu, we'll select linear, and we'll walk through that in OST right now. So linears, it's basically if you want to take like lineal takeoff. You can also get square footage off of that by adjusting what kind of results you're looking for that. Let's see.
Hey, Pedro, I wonder if you could try to see if it helps speed up in your database. I saw that you had a lot of databases open. If maybe you, for this, if you like turn them off.
You think that'll help?
I mean, it's worth a try. I know that's part of why we try to create smaller, like you have
These right here?
Yeah, just the ones that aren't active, just as a try, because you had quite a few open. It looks like you were only having that issue with OST, right? It's worth giving it a run. That way, I think it's processing less.
Okay.
It's worth trying.
Trying to find a. We'll start with this elevation here and see. So we were going to start out with a linear condition. So let's say for this example, we want to figure caulking. So if you don't have anything synced up and you want to find some caulking, you want to take that off, you can assign that as your type. Caulking, I'll call this perimeter. This will be kind of what's going to show up on your list over here. It's good to have your types and your layers identified or broken out by those different conditions that you're looking for. That way you can organize your takeoff and turn off and on different layers. And your takeoff would also be broken off that way if you are looking at it at the end. So on the height of it, I'm not going to give it anything on the height. The thickness is just the thickness that you're going to see it on your PDF. It's not representing that it's a 4-inch caulk joint. It's just how thick do you want to see that line on your image.
Okay.
So I'll leave it alone at 4 inches and hit OK. And you'll see that it brings it over to your condition tools and it's right there. Now to actually take it off, you'll notice that your crosshairs change and now I'm in the takeoff mode, which is this button right here. If you happen to use something else or click somewhere else and you're not in the takeoff mode, you can simply click on this button. Click over here on this, and then you're automatically again in takeoff mode. So to use the perimeter tool, you can click. Yeah, it's lagging a little bit, but you click, hold, and release, and that's how you can use that tool.
Okay.
You can also click points. And if you hit escape, it undoes your last step that you just did. And to finish it off, you can hit enter and you'll be done with that tool.
Okay. Did you like do it like in one like it's one line or broken down?
So it'll do it in different segments.
Okay.
And you can, yeah, it's not like if it was AutoCAD, it's not going to be like a polyline.
Yeah.
They're disconnected, if you will.
Okay. Copy.
Yeah.
Copy that.
And if you need to adjust them, you can always do that by selecting that line and then grabbing the grip there and pulling it. Like, yeah, there was a big lag and delay on my end, so it wasn't as nice. But you can always do that.
Okay.
That's the linear takeoff tool. And now we're going to use an area. So again, we're going to hit the plus sign. We're going to get an area. And this time we want to quantify the strip windows. I'll just kind of have an acronym here for that. Same thing for the layer. If it doesn't recognize that you have that before, it'll ask if you want to add it. You're going to hit yes, and you'll select that. And then you can hit OK again here. And similar to the linear tool, it's just clicking points. And when you're done, you can hit enter and it'll finish that there. You can see that it quantifies that over automatically off to the side. So area is the first thing that it's going to give you in this column right here. If you're looking for maybe a count, you can get area counts here, and it'll tell you every time you have that happening. So right now we only have one of them. So you can get more. You can get up to 3 quantities off of one takeoff tool if it's something that works that you're looking for there. And then the next thing, let's say these were windows and we wanted to count these using the count feature. You can do that as well that way. So you'll select the count. Let's pretend these are windows. So we knew that it was window type, window 1. Or no, we have, let's use this keynote here. So A-1 is what we're going to count right now. I'm going to leave that alone and hit OK because I'm going to dimension what this window measures. If you had a window schedule, maybe you could reference that. Sorry, it's not helping. I think I'm just gonna have to eyeball it. So the main thing here when you're counting windows, I like to change this to a rectangle. And I like to use the 100% of the display size. So what that means is that what I'm gonna count is gonna highlight the entire window to the right size. It looks like maybe this is a 6-foot window. I couldn't get my dimension tool to work very well right now, but
7 feet though.
It's 7, okay.
7.
So the important thing to note here when you're counting windows is that your height and your depth has to be the same thing. It won't throw off your square footage, and it's not gonna give you like a volume area of that. So the height and the depth represents the height, and then the width is the width. You can change colors since we already have blue happening there. And so for this, I want to get the area first. So I'm going to get the area, single width, and a side, and then I'll get the count second, because I'm more concerned about the square footage, right? Or if you want to get the count first, you can do that, but keep in mind that it's always going to happen on this column, your first quantity. So I'm going to hit OK there, and now I have my A1 condition over there. And now if I click in the middle of this, it should bring it, well, I don't know why I brought it down there. Again, it's the delay, but it should work better for you guys. So if you're clicking right in the middle of the window, it should bring it right in there. And if you can use your arrow keys to move it over to the left or to the right. If you want to get it right there.
Okay.
So those are the 3 main condition tools that we use in OST for quantifying different things.
I have a question then. Like, let's say for Denise, everything she's done up to this point has been in a new database. So now, like those conditions that you just made, if you were to make a 2021 fiscal year and synchronize the database, those conditions should be able to be inserted as a style set, correct?
Yes. Or even if you make a new bid under that database,
Yeah.
those would be in there as well.
So maybe when we're done here, we can stay on and troubleshoot, because I don't believe that's happening for me. I can't insert them. So like every time I go to do a new new OST or a new bid, I have to like recreate all the conditions, or I found that you can go and copy and paste them, which is what I've been doing, but that's not the best way, I don't think.
Yeah, I sent you one so we could try after. You could
Okay,
try to bring it from there just to test it.
sounds good.
One quick question. When you're doing your area at the door, 100J, and so I'm getting my area out of A1 and A2, but when I have my second set at count, it's giving me 4 windows because I had to independently draw rectangles at door 101A. So is there a way that I can adjust the grips to cover those side lights and get a correct count versus now I've got, you know, there's 3 windows there if you were to do a count. So you get 3 A2s instead of 1.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are ways around that.
Wouldn't you want to highlight that whole thing? That whole opening as A2?
Right. You
Including
could,
the door?
yeah, that would be the way I would do it.
Yeah, same here.
You do this.
Okay, gotcha.
Because you're
Right.
you still want to capture the footage where
Right.
the door's happening.
Yep.
But if I want to do the door separate, now I have to do an overlay.
Yeah, that would be how I would do it. Now, let's say this wasn't a door, and for whatever reason, it just works out better that if you capture this whole footage once, and if you wanted to back this out, you can with this tool up here. So it's called a back out mode. So you have to have whatever you want to back out selected. And then you hit this back out tool. And keep an eye on this footage here. It's 367. And it works similar to the area tool, which is going to back out whatever you are drawing, right? So it was 367 and it backed out a little bit right now. So that's one way you can do that if you wanted to back that footage out.
Now, what was the back out tool? I missed it.
Over here on the top right, with the yellow box inside that other
Okay, gotcha.
black box there.
This is, I mean, not to go down a rabbit hole on this, but while we've got this group together, because I know this has come up recently. I mean, Pedro, we talked about this earlier this week about whether or not doors should be backed out or should be part of the overall scope. Because when we were talking about earlier this week on UCI, you know, while we have a separate line item for doors, it was also counting in the overall square footage. Frank, how do you normally do it?
We include it.
Okay. And I'd say that that's what the best way to do it is. So it's good to see the tool to do the back out, but I mean, I think, while it's not written anywhere, and maybe we will eventually, like as a standard, let's include that footage for the door still in the system. So
Yeah, the only time I probably don't is if it's a big slider,
sure.
you know, that's picking up a lot of footage. I probably would not include that. Unless it has a transom, unless it's a full assembly.
Right.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, like if you were doing kind of like taking these and putting them in your opening sheet just like that with that door included, it's really just going to make your square foot price look cheaper, if anything.
And that's really the direction I was going, Jake. I think that the optics of it look better by having it's increasing your footage a little bit and thereby dropping your price per square foot down a little bit. So, and not to go down a rabbit hole, but I just want to make sure, since we have a little bit of a bigger group here, we're all on the same page with that. So that's
No, and I would show a different project where this back out tool works better, but
no, it's fine.
But,
It's just,
yeah.
it got me thinking when you did it because of our conversation earlier this week, and we've had it come up on some jobs before. So just wondering.
Right.
I like that. I mean, I'm glad we talked about it because I've made the habit of not highlighting them. I usually do, like you can trace around them. That's what I've been doing. So,
Yeah, because we always quote the doors and the glass separate.
Well, it is. So, I mean, it really is, Rick. I mean, it's a sleight of hand trick, right? You've got the doors someplace else. And because of how we actually do our pricing, it's not like you're actually putting the price of that door in your square footage for the window system. You're really doing a little sleight of hand here with what the footage is, right? You're increasing the amount of square foot for that system, which thereby, after you've figured out all your costs, is decreasing your price per square foot. So it's making your square foot number more attractive.
What happens is you have the square footage on the OST,
right?
And then JJ's saying, well, wait a minute, you've got 6,000 square feet of window, but your glass takeoff is only coming up at 5,500 because you got 10 doors. What's not right? Well, there's too much glass in those.
But I think what you just said right there is exactly what I would say to JJ in that situation. If he was looking at him and going like, which is a good question, hey, why are these different? It's like, well, it's all these doors right here, right? For us on a lot of jobs, the number of doors aren't that huge where it's going to swing it that much. But as long as you're aware as why that difference is, I think you're in a good spot.
Right. And if you get asked by the contractors like, hey, why do you have the footage there? Like my response has been, well, we still have a frame and we have to prep for that door there.
Yeah. No, and that's come up. I mean, that came up in Vegas when we were doing the D-scope on Caesars. They'd had a bunch of people do takeoffs and they were questioning the footage. And we told them, well, that footage technically includes the door because exactly like you said, it's got the frame and everything else, that whole area. And, they was no problem. They were fine with it. So.
Any questions there on those 3 different condition tools?
No.
Okay. So then be able to see what you've taken off. You come over to this takeoff tab and you'll see the work you've done there.
Okay.
Let's say you had 2 line items under strip window. You'll see those individual line items, but you won't get a sum of all that strip window. You're just seeing the totals per your conditions. But if you wanted to sum up, let's say for now, we wanted to sum up what the total was between the strip windows and the windows. We wanted to sum all these up. Maybe you wanted to export that to Excel. What you can do is select these just by drawing a window, copying that, opening Excel, and pasting that there. You're going to see that it's going to come in with your condition numbers, which is these numbers that don't mean anything really. It's just your conditions as you created them. So this was the first one, the second, and the third. You can come in here and paste. When I bring it over, I kind of clean this up and delete some of these rows, which you can do. I don't like to have these numbers here, so I always delete those. But I wanted to sum these 2 different systems, right? And here's where you just you can sum that up,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll get your total. If you had a long list, it's kind of helpful to bring it over to Excel and work from that. Did you guys try that out? Did it work out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this, oh, I have a question. This OST, is it like bought from a different company, or we can add customization or something?
Not a whole lot other than what the tools you see there. There's not, what are you thinking?
No, I'm just thinking if like because in CAD or in Revit, Zach or
Okay. Yeah,
like,
no, this is something that we are renting, if you will.
okay, so it really can't be like, we can't really add custom buttons or something just to do like the sum or
Not that I'm
whatever
aware
else we
of,
need.
no.
Okay.
Because it is a database file, I don't know if Zach can probably work off of something with it, but not something that we are doing at the moment.
Okay. Copy that.
Yeah, we've asked, like there's one for like the glass. When you select account, you should be able to have it give you like the length and the width. That would make it so much easier. It just gives you the area, but it doesn't give you, like the size of a window. Even though it calculates it, that would be nice if it told you, okay, that window is, or that glass piece is 20 by 10.
You know, when you open that database file earlier, I think it's in one of those schedules.
Yeah.
I've never looked for it though, but
Yeah, that'd be a good one to kind of find out how to be able to dig that info out, because a lot of us would benefit from that.
Right.
Within that program.
Okay.
So now printing to a PDF. So very similar to all the other programs, we're going to go over to File. Print Preview is kind of where you can set up the way you want to print your pages. So I'll walk you guys through that, since we're going to set up the page size, the range, and how to do all that. So for now, I'm only going to print this page where we did our work. So you can go over to File, Print Preview. It'll pick up on the settings that you last had. So if you ever printed something on OST, the next time you go over to print something, it'll pick up those settings. So for now, it's picking up what I did on the last project. So for this one, I'm gonna set it up, and I will print it to, I'll keep it as a tabloid size, which is the 11 by 17, just to maybe streamline that a little bit. And I will bring this down to fit to page. So the whole page is going to fit to my 11 by 17. The range of it is just this current view, or the current page. If you had multiple pages that had takeoff in them, you can select this option here. That works great when you have all your elevations highlighted and you have a 100-page document and you only want to highlight or print 4 of those pages. That's a nice option there. But for this example, it's just the current page.
Okay.
And are you guys following along pretty well here? Yeah. So you still have your PDF printers that are available to you there. I still have Adobe. I'll use that here.
But have you noticed when you're using those 2 different drivers, like the Adobe one leaves it the default at 1200 DPI, which is a lot bigger file, which is a lot slower. I mean, it's probably, there's a lot more there. The Bluebeam one kind of gives you a more smaller, manageable. It's actually 600 DPI. It's a little bit smaller. You could change it on the Adobe, but by default, I think it's set to 1200, which is a little bigger file.
Right.
That's
And I didn't want to try the Bluebeam one because sometimes it glitches on my end.
Yeah,
And it
I've
doesn't.
had that. I've had that same issue too. It's not always. It doesn't always go through.
So it'll ask you where you want to save that as a typical PDF prompt. So for now, I'm just going to save it on my desktop. And it should just bring it over to open in your default PDF viewer.
Okay. So like naming the file, you don't really have like a standard way of doing it, just OST, then the project name?
Well, we do have standards for the highlighted details and the highlighted scope. Yeah. But if it's just something like a takeoff that's for your purpose, or you're going to send it out to someone, it's just like any other document.
Okay.
So that takes care of printing. And then the last thing here is exporting, which is not something that we do often, but it could be something that if you're sharing a takeoff, you're exporting your entire takeoff and giving your entire OST project, not the database, but that individual project, to someone else. So let's say Jake was working on the strip windows portion of it. He loaded the documents, he did all that, and then he wanted to share that with Rick, so that Rick wouldn't have to load the whole documents all over again and rename them, do none of that. It'll save him that step. That's kind of a good example of when you would share and export your bid to someone. So to do that, we'll go over to this send button here, go down to complete package, and we're going to send it over to a file, which that's kind of what works the best. You want to file means you'll put it somewhere in either on your desktop or on the server so that someone else can get to it, which is probably the best place would be in the server, in the job folder. Maybe you create a new folder within your where you have your OST files, so that you can let the other person know, hey, it's in there.
Okay.
So we can walk through that there. So this is the button. It's send right here in the middle. We're going to send the complete package to a file. It's going to ask you if you want to send the images, which means all your the PDFs that got converted to a TIFF. It'll send the TIFF images, and we want to do the whole thing, not just pages with takeoff, but we want to give them the entire
document.
Yes.
Okay.
The entire project, this project here. So we're going to create that. It's going to ask us where we want to do that.
Did we cover the image legend?
Not yet. No, I think that was on our list for. But
next time.
Yeah, but we can't.
Yeah. We can touch on that. Yeah. So for now, I'm going to create a folder on my desktop, or I think I already have something there for temporary stuff. Here's where you can rename what that file is, I wouldn't rename this. I would just keep it the same.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to save it there.
So now I can go to that file, open it up, and just keep going with OST.
Exactly.
You could pick up on the takeoff.
That's how that would work. Yeah, I mean, I think we tried exporting last time, Frank,
Yeah, we did.
where I exported it to that N drive, right?
Right, yeah.
And then we can probably walk through that again. I'll stop
Yeah.
sharing so you guys can see how it works on the other end.
Yeah, so I was kind of getting there right now. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is kind of what Pedro, this is from the last training session, but essentially he's backing up a file. It's got the OST icon. So if you have OST, you should be able to kind of just double click it and it's going to open up that takeoff. I'm going to go ahead and run that. Go ahead, try that again. And it should bring in everything that he had right when he was exporting. It's going to bring it into that existing database that you're working on. Might be taking a little while. Can you guys see the OST screen right now?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's spinning.
Yeah, it's spinning. I know it does take a little while because it's bringing all those images, it's copying them over in the right folder so that it can view them, right?
Mm-hmm. There it goes. Probably this one. Yeah, so that's the one from back in July. So that was these 15 pages. It's got the takeoff. It has all the conditions that were created. Takeoff pretty much. You could actually take off from here and pick up, start doing, you know, more of the other stuff. Yeah. So that's how that works there. And that was the end of my portion there. Exporting was the last thing. Image legend, we can touch on that.
Yeah, let me open up that one that was there. I'll go to the reviews, or maybe maybe I go to the one that you had there already.
From the last time.
Yeah, the one that we just brought in.
Yeah.
So the image legend button is this one right here at that's the one we're talking about, right, Rick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can turn it off and on. See, this one's got, that's what's on this one. You know, that's what shows up. It's got the area, and if there's more pages, it's going to display it. Or it looks like there's 2 sheets here with takeoff. 2
That
different.
one has a little bit more, yeah. That one's better.
This one has more. So it's got the 2. It's got the perimeter caulking.
So yeah, all right. So there's no totals or anything. And I think we probably, did we touch on that on the last
Well, I
training?
think, yeah, you covered part of it. So if you wanted totals to show up,
No, it's in cover sheet.
that's there.
And then preference.
There we're all. Well,
There you go. So what do you want to show? Quantity 1 and 2.
And one.
Yeah, I normally don't check or check off because it's always checked on the condition number, which
Yeah.
means I don't like to see that number there because it doesn't mean anything. So now it's giving you your totals.
Mhm.
If you wanted to see your totals, you can do that. If you're just looking to identify the scope, you can turn those quantities off.
Yeah, I mean, if you, what's a good one here? Well, if you wanted to do maybe only counts on the storefront, right? This is what Pedro's talking about. You could, or only area, you could just say no result. And it kind of goes away. It's only giving you footage.
Right.
Or if you do want the count, if it was off, you can go area counts. Right there. And it gives you the counts.
Yeah, because normally when you're using the count tool, the count would be listed first. So I would switch them so that every time you
Mhm.
sum up, you'll sum up just square footage.
Yeah, because if you're doing a smaller job that you weren't necessarily going to use the takeoff program for, you can basically do this to get your counts for punched openings and square footage.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, was there anything else on the image legend you wanted to? I think that's the basics.
Yep. No, that was all. I just wanted to make sure
I
that,
think.
because Denise had never seen that before. So.
Oh, okay.
that's why I brought it up.
Oh, that's good. I think we could try to troubleshoot Jake's database real quick to see if we.
Yeah, I was thinking I could share maybe and
Yeah.
show you what the issue is that I'm having. Maybe it'll be easy fix.
Yeah, hopefully it should.
So this one, for example, like the last one I did, let's say I like these conditions the way they are. So just even in the same database, so I'm still in 2020 fiscal year. I made this one test.
So where's that that database that you just had? That's in that 2020.
Yeah, these are both in the 2020. So if I click on this guy, insert style set, there's nothing here.
Can you go back? Are you in a? Is that a new project there?
This is a different project, yeah.
Let's see. Can you go back to bids?
Yep. So this one, Spanish Ridge Addendum 1 is the one that I was looking at that had the conditions, kind of how I liked them.
Okay, so you're within the same database.
Yeah. So I'm not even in a different database.
I think you have to go back to that one. Yeah, that one. And then you would export them from here.
Gotcha. So how would I do that?
But you haven't synced them now. I mean, they should. Did you create that? You know what? When did you?
I made these by doing, let's say, if I'm making a count, I would have done this guy.
Okay. I think what Pedro was saying is right. So if you go within here, you double click it there. Not in here, but in your conditions. If you exit out of that, right click in here. In condition style, insert condition style set, just to go to that. And you don't, they're not there either.
Yeah, so you have to go back. Okay, so right click on one of these. Save to style library, I think is what you have to do.
So then,
So let's just try that one. That was the glass lights.
so there it is.
So
Yeah.
It saved it up there.
Yeah. And then you would go to your new one, your new takeoff.
Let me try, see if I can do them all at the same time. Which one did I do? Save to style library?
First one, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so then. So let's just try the one that I did. Gotcha.
Now you have the slow computer.
Yeah, whoever's sharing. It's really bad when I'm just trying to load a blank page too. So there it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I need to do then is save those conditions.
And as long as you're within the same database,
Yeah.
it's gonna pick it up.
And then you would be able to synchronize.
Yeah, so now like
With a
now
new-
this count will be in this database, right? So when I synchronize, it'll go to the new database.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I think that's all I had question-wise.
Cool. Yeah, I think we're right there on time. We're set to 10:30, but I think we're good.
Yep.
Did anybody have anything else? I think we covered.
Yeah, I got a quickie. Here's one I did about 8 months ago or so, first of the year. And I want to know if you guys think this is overkill. So what ended up happening here is this was broken down into 3 phases. It's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, which is where the zone comes in. And it gave me all my counts per zone, which is the way it's actually broke down. But you can see how many, I mean, I did left hand, reverse, right hand, reverse, left hand, right hand, full view, door with frame. I mean, these are all the different conditions I had just in this one floor of the building. Do you think this is overkill to a certain degree?
To break it up the way you did, or
Yeah,
was that what the contractor was looking for? Were they
correct. In other words, they, you know, this was all going to go in zone, or, you know, the job was going to go off per these zones and phases. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Well, okay, I think I get what you're saying. But did you have to you have to create new conditions per zone?
Yes. Well, no, It
Okay.
actually did the count per zones for me. I didn't have to. Once I encompassed each thing into the zone, it counted them for me.
Yeah, because like that door or that side light, whatever that is the same condition, right? Those two
Correct.
items.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that's the best way to do it if you're trying to identify every single thing. By zones, it works out to be the best thing.
What did your takeoff look like? Did it break out by zone?
Yes.
Well, can you go to takeoff if you don't mind? Go to the takeoff tab.
So here's your phase 1, phase
Yeah,
2.
and those are your zones.
Yep.
I've never seen it highlighted like that though.
No, me neither. What can you go
So
back?
right click? Sorry, can you just right click anywhere like here? Okay, yeah, you do have it by zone, so that is a zone. I guess you can have it highlighted. I always just have it show a line around it, like a perimeter line.
Gotcha.
It's actually pretty cool to see it highlighted like that.
Yeah, I mean, another, I don't know if there's a preference. Area is another way to do it too, right? We didn't cover much about areas, but essentially it kind of could do something similar, and you could break it out by area. I think.
And there were so many different, you know, I had glass partitions, I had 1/4 inch glass, I had full view doors, there were so many different conditions involved that.
But they were looking for that, right? Like,
well, we have to quote it that way, and then I had to quote it per phase. In other words, I had to break our material down per phase, if nothing else. But then we had to have a whole cost for the full thing. But then it was like, well, how much do you gear up for? And then how much do you wait before you gear up for the next phase? And those were all things we had to take into consideration when pricing the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're trying to identify the left hand and the right hand, I mean, there's no way to around it without actually identifying those.
I was just wondering if, if this was like, overkill. If you wouldn't waste your time doing that, as far as you're concerned, it's a door, and a sideline, and they're all the same, whether it's right hand reverse or left hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would only count as far as doors go. We would probably differentiate if it was an in swing or out swing. But I mean, this is interior, so maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there were balance doors down here, big heavy balance doors.
Yep.
But anyway, I was just curious
Yeah.
if I spent more time that was actually absolutely
Yeah,
necessary.
sometimes those stakeouts can get a little busy. Big jobs like that. Anybody else got anything?
Nope, I think I'm good.
We're right at our time, right?
If I have any questions, I'll just email either of you.
Either one of us, yeah, either one of us.
Okay.
Yeah, you can always email me and I'll give you the wrong information.
I'll email you, then we can call them together.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thanks, guys.
Good job,
Awesome as
guys.
always.
Thank you
You guys
so
have a good
much.
weekend.
Thanks again.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.